Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another Thursday night live stream. Hope everyone's been having a good week. A lot of pre orders this week, so another tough one on the wallet, I would say, especially with all those Flash movie products that went up yesterday from like McFarlane and such. But let's see, let's take a quick roll call here, see who is in the house. Underlining Phoenix, what's up? Chris Allen, yeah, the Batmobile, the '89 Batmobile sold out pretty quick, but at $60, that's not too surprising, especially as popular as Michael Keaton and that particular Batmobile are. Sunbold Nation, what's up, man? Lord Venger's in the house, what's up? Paul's in the house, what's up? Gary, what's up? Jimmy, what's up? Blake is in the house, what's up? So, besides all that Flash stuff yesterday, we have Walmart Collector Con today, and I gotta say I wasn't too impressed with this particular Walmart Collector Con. I mean, as far as like just the product, or wasn't the only thing I ended up buying today was I went on and pre-ordered those two GI Joe classified figures, but I didn't get anything else from Walmart Collector Con. And I heard, per usual, Walmart's website glitched up for a lot of people. Um, Only some people, though. Like, I guess it depended on where in the country you actually lived. Like, I didn't have any problem. I was able to add everything into my cart. I mean, I even tested it with, like, the Marvel Legends, even though I didn't end up getting those. But I didn't have any problems. But apparently other folks did. And like I said, it seemed like it was based on where exactly you lived in the country. And you would think like Walmart would have bugs like that worked out on their website. It's really, I mean, it's probably has something to do with like measures that they have implemented to try and keep out the scalper bots. So that's probably what caused the glitches, I'm guessing. But I don't know. You'd think they would be able to get that stuff straightened out before these events actually kick off. RX Gold, will they make a General Zod figure? I assume you're talking about McFarlane, because Spin Master has made a General Zod figure. You can get it in that Amazon 5-pack. McFarlane, I've not seen any listings for a General Zod, so I can't say 100%, but at least initially here, it does not look like General Zod is going to get a DC multiverse figure. But, you know, they snuck in that Shazam Wonder Woman figure without it showing up in any like overseas listings or anything like that. So, I won't say it's impossible. What's up, Sector 2813? Welcome to the channel and glad you like it. Henry G. Michael, what's up? Will there be a second day to Walmart Collector Con with more releases? Seems weird. Yes, tomorrow is the second day of Walmart Collector Con. I don't know how many more new releases they will have during it, but likely some. I don't think any, like nothing from Hasbro. I think all the Hasbro stuff went up today. Um, and like I said, I have no idea what we'll see tomorrow. But yes, there is technically a second day of Walmart Collector Con tomorrow. So once again, we'll kick off at 10 a.m. Eastern time, and we'll have to see what they put up. A lot of times they like will put up teasers. I haven't checked here this evening. Let me just take a quick look and see if they've put any teasers up for tomorrow yet. I gotta get to the I gotta get to that Collector Con landing page on the Walmart website. No, so I don't see anything yet for tomorrow. So So no, like they'll put out, like usually they'll put out blacked out images of something or such, but so far nothing, nothing indicating what they might be putting up tomorrow. Jerry says definitely prefer the previous McFarlane Justice League figures. Are you talking about for Wonder Woman with the removable tiara? That images of that figure had leaked out several weeks ago from overseas, and back then I wasn't sure it was even a legit figure because the images were blurry, and again there had been no overseas listings for that figure. Usually you'll see overseas listings for everything from McFarlane. So but when it showed up at a store here in the US, it looked, that definitely seemed to confirm that it was a real figure. And we this week they released the clip. I think it was this week they released the TV spot where they show Wonder Woman in the movie. So it's not. I think we all knew she was gonna have a cameo in the movie, but they actually officially kind of confirmed that with their one of their latest TV spots. I am not gonna go see Shazam this weekend. I'm gonna wait till it comes out on home release, HBO Max, and I'll watch it. But I'm not gonna go to the theater and watch Shazam. It just from the trailers and stuff, it just didn't look that interesting to me. I've seen kind of mixed reviews, so that's one I'm definitely gonna wait for home release. Sector, is CollectorCon not an app? No, CollectorCon is not an app. I mean, you can access stuff on the Walmart app if you want, but CollectorCon is an event that Walmart holds a couple of times a year where they put up exclusives and stuff on their website. Hope you enjoy it tomorrow. Ricky says, not enough good stuff in the background. I even got Logan in the background tonight. What are you talking about? Mr. Cheeseburger says Walmart has done a great job. I don't know if anything is sold out. I haven't really looked, but I think everything's been in stock. Of course, again, for a good chunk of the day, a lot of people weren't actually able to buy stuff. They would get to the cart and then they couldn't check out. So that might have something to do with it. But yeah, as far as like things selling out quickly, I don't think anything sold out quickly. I haven't gone through to see if anything is actually sold out, but sector. So sector, you want to get to this page. Like if you go to the Walmart website and you just type in search, if you go into the search and just type Walmart Collector Con, you should see a link to this page. But this is where all their stuff goes up for the Collector Con. So, and again, you can access it through their app as well if you want to if you use your phone. But if you're on a desktop, just go to the Walmart website, type in Walmart Collector Con, and go to this page, and this is where you'll find everything. Jerry says Shazam should have been Cap versus Black Adam. Well, The Rock basically walked out like when he, you know, when James Gunn came in and basically said we're not going to give you the Superman versus Black Adam fight you wanted. He basically walked away from the whole thing. So I think he was supposed to originally have a cameo in the movie, but MK Solid. Well, I mean, anyone who thought the thing was going to have bells and whistles at $60, I mean, you're crazy. I mean, this is the 66 Batmobile that McFarlane did. Now the 89 Batmobile is bigger, but this is very basic. It's a hollow piece of plastic with, wheels, and that's it. There's no bells and whistles. It's cheap. It doesn't cost, this didn't cost a ton of money, but that's why I laugh when people start like comparing this stuff to like the HasLab Ghost Rider campaign. I mean, they're not even the same ballpark. Now, that it does bring up a good question. What's more important, having like all the bells and whistles and a real high quality item, or something that's basic like this, but doesn't cost a lot? But yeah, I mean, I'm not expecting the 80, I mean, this doesn't look bad. It goes on my shelf. It doesn't look bad. You can fit two figures in there and stuff, but there's no bells and whistles on this. And when you hold it, it feels cheap. It feels like hollow plastic. I mean, it is what it is. And I don't expect the Batmobile or even the Batwing, which is much more expensive, $250. I don't expect that to have a whole lot of bells and whistles and such. But that's a limited store exclusive. So that's a good example when you start to see companies make this stuff that in such small numbers to get it out to collectors, but likely the retailers didn't want to carry the big giant Batwing. Probably lucky that they got the retailers to carry the Batmobile. I'm talking about Target and Walmart, not the smaller guys. But the reason why I'm sure that Batwing is offered, only through the McFarlane stores, because they probably didn't have enough retailer interest to make it a general release. And so you can see something that, when you compare the price of the Batmobile, which is a general release, that'll be sold everywhere, and then the Batwing, which is only being released on the McFarlane store, you can see a big difference in the prices. So, that's just, it doesn't take a genius to kind of see these things. That's why I kind of always get a chuckle when somebody's trying to stick the Batmobile on Hasbro's face and go, look, Hasbro, this is only $60. I mean, yeah, no shit, it's only $60 because it's a hollow piece of plastic that holds one figure, and that's it. But like I said, as far as the consumer goes, it is an interesting question. What is more important to the collector as a whole? Is something cheap like this, or is something, that's going to be much more expensive but has, a lot more bells and whistles and stuff? What's more important? And, I don't really know the answer because, you hear lots of varying opinions online. Everyone always bitches about the prices, but yeah, that Batmobile, while it'll look good on my shelf, and again, it's $60. It was an easy purchase. But if you're expecting bells and whistles, pop out guns, a shield that you can put over the car, or lights and sounds and things like that, you're not going to get that for $60. John says, Batwing is just too expensive for me. The Spin Master one will just have to do. Now, that you make a good point there. So, obviously, the 4-inch Spin Master Batwing isn't going to help 7-inch collectors. But there should be a 12-inch Batwing coming from Spin Master that might work with 7-inch figures and will probably be cheaper than the McFarlane Batwing. I don't know exactly how the 12-inch Spin Master Batwing, I believe, is going to be a Target exclusive. So I don't think it's gone up for purchase yet, but there, I believe, is going to be for their their generic 12-inch scale figures that Spin Master does. They've done vehicles in the past for those. They did a comic book based Batmobile, several years ago, which actually, worked fairly well with 7-inch figures. So If you don't want to buy the McFarlane one at the 250, you might wait and see what that 12-inch one that Spin Master I believe is going to do ends up costing, and see how well that'll work with your 7-inch scale figures. Jay Geeter says there's a lot of collectors who want something for nothing. Well, there's a lot of collectors who want their cake and eat it too. They want all the bells and whistles, but they don't want to pay a lot of money, and it's just not reasonable in today's market for that thing. So your choices are cheap or expensive with the bells and whistles, and that's just the reality of of today. And when they make, again, another thing that probably made the Batmobile more appealing to like the Walmarts and Targets is the fact that it only costs $60. Not only is it a big item, which those retailers don't generally like to carry, but it's also cheap. So they're more like, but the retailers like Walmart and Target don't want to carry a $200, $250 item. So, um, that probably also didn't help the Batwing. But I think the big difference between the price of the Batmobile and the Batwing, again, the Batwing is probably a little bit bigger than the Batmobile, but I think the big difference is they're making the Batwing in much smaller numbers because they're only selling it directly to collectors through the McFarlane store website. So, the numbers that they're having made at the factory are probably much smaller for the Batwing than they are for the Batmobile. And that again is one of the reasons why like the HasLab Ghost Rider is more expensive. If that had been a general retail release, it probably would have been cheaper. But the problem with that is again the retailers probably just had no interest in wanting to carry something like that. MK Solid, always appreciate the super chat donations. Has anyone tried to paint an artist proof figure? Do you need a coat of paint primer, or can you just paint it? I have never tried. I've only gotten one of those figures, and it was because I had ordered the figure off Amazon. I think it was the Hush figure, and I had ordered it off Amazon, and they sent me one of those stupid unpainted versions. So, but I've never tried to paint it, so I couldn't answer you on that. I don't think you need primer, but I could be wrong on that. I don't do a lot of customization and painting and things like that. John says, "Yeah, well, all those the Ben Affleck, the Supergirl, and the Michael Keaton Batman have soft goods cape. But yeah, I'm sure they did that for so that those figures could sit in the vehicles. They didn't want to. They didn't want to include a second figure with the vehicles because that would have raised the price even more. So they just gave soft goods capes to the regular release figures." Kyle says you should really use primer. So Lord Wenger says would just paint and seal. Why is it different Batwing? It's not that well, Vex. So they changed the design in the movie, but if you remember back to the '89 Batman movie, the original Batwing crashed. The Joker shot it down. So I'm sure Batman had to have it redesigned and rebuilt, and I guess it changed the look of it. Um, I would assume is the explanation for why it looks different from the one we saw in the '89 movie, because the Joker shot the original one down and it crashed. Rick says primer and sealant when done if you want to be safe. It's ultimately depends on the paint, but that way is the best. Jerry says he painted his Origins Battle Cat to be a duplicate. It looked like Pokemon. Kyle says because McTodd didn't get well, he probably could do 89 stuff, but the stuff that we're seeing is for the new movie. And the Batwing doesn't look like it did in the original movie, so that's why it's based on that. But I mean, I imagine Todd, having the DC license could do figures from the original 89 movie, but the whole idea, I mean, Warner Brothers requires McFarlane to make movie products for these DC movies. So, because that's what these studios do, is they use the toys as essentially a way to market their movies. So that's really a requirement when somebody like McFarlane gets a hold of a license like DC or something that has movies tied to it. They have to actually make movie product in order to appease the studio. Michael, who knows? I mean, you never know with McFarlane. He loves repaints. I mean, if they did, it would probably just be a repaint of the one that they've already done. But again, I've seen no listings. I will tell you that I've seen in the Target system, and I'm trying to find out if it's still there. But there was a listing for a while ago in the Target system. There was a listing for a Flash movie mega figure from McFarlane. No name of the figure. It just said mega figure. So I don't know if that's still coming or not. And I don't know what it would be. I don't know what mega figure they would be doing from the Flash movie, but I'm trying to find out if if that figure is still in the system or if it got removed or what have you. Vivi, if Hasbro can't do Marvel Legends right, do you think either Mattel or Jada Toys Marvel Legend figures instead of Hasbro? Do I think Hasbro is going to give up the Marvel Legends license or have it taken away from them? Not anytime soon. No. Anybody, once the license comes up, the company buys the license or pays for the license for a certain number of years, and I don't remember what year the current license that Hasbro has ends, but when that comes up, or when they get to that point, it's possible another company could try and bid for the license and take it over. But my guess is, I think Hasbro and Disney's relationship is pretty good, so I doubt Hasbro would lose the Marvel Legends license anytime soon. And I don't think Hasbro's done a bad job with Marvel Legends in general. In fact, I think they've done a pretty good job overall. Um, Still probably one of the best action figure lines out there overall. Ricochet. I hope McFarlane makes a Batmobile from the 2000. Well, I wouldn't expect one from the 2020 since that movie is come and gone. But since there's another Batman movie coming, it's possible they might end up doing something for that. Whether he has the same Batmobile or something different in the new movie, I don't know. But I would. McFarlane doesn't seem to go back and do old movies for things like DC, so I wouldn't hold my breath on anything from a movie that is essentially no longer current. Do I think like places that are sold out? Do I think they'll get more in? Yes, I do. I do think they'll get more in. I have like yesterday. I know Big Bad Toy Store had sold out. Entertainment Earth had sold out. Amazon had sold out. The McFarlane store still had them in stock. I haven't checked today, and Target still had them in stock. Though Target was selling, I don't know what's up with Target. Target was selling them for $80. Everyone else had them for 60, and Target had yesterday at least had them priced at $80. So I don't know why Target was selling it for $20 more than everybody else. Is it possible Raymond Toys will get sued? Uh, I mean, anything's probably possible, but Raymond Toys is an overseas company, and I can tell you everything I've heard, it's very difficult to sue a company that's overseas for things like copyright. So, That's why you see so many third party, stuff that always continues to float out there. Usually they're from overseas companies, but I suppose anything's possible, but I really have no idea. That is true. You're right. Uh, but that's like very rare that you see that. But you're right. They did go back and do the Nolan figure, so. And I mean, of course, we all know how much Todd loves Batman, so I suppose anything is possible when it comes to Batman. Kyle says Target sold out. Even at $80, $20 more than everybody else, but people still bought it. I was because there was so much news that came out yesterday, so like I didn't have a chance to go and like start to buy stuff until later in the day. And so by the time I went to go like get the Batmobile, it was sold out at like Big Bad Toy Store and Entertainment Earth. I was like fuck. And so I went to Target and it was like at $80 and I was like, "Man, why do I have to pay $20 more to get it at Target?" So then I went over to the McFarlane store and I got it there at 60. McFarlane's shipping sucks. It's like $16 to have it shipped. So, I would have gotten free shipping at Entertainment Earth or only $4 shipping at Big Bad Toy Store or free shipping from Amazon. But I had missed the boat on those places, so I ended up buying it from the McFarlane store. But that thing sold out really quick. Probably not. Usually those show up online before the movies come out, so I won't. I mean, anything's possible, but I don't think there's going to be a Blue Beetle trailer this week. I mean, the movie's like opening right now, right? It's Thursday night, so I'm sure there's Thursday night screenings. Yeah, Big Bad Toy Store had it up a little bit above the MSRP. I think he mentioned it like I don't know, but yeah, he had it a little more expensive. But I mean, it's not uncommon for a small e-tailer to sometimes have it raise the price a little bit for a variety of reasons. But I was surprised to see Target selling it for $20 more than everyone else. Usually, the big box retailers keep their prices the lowest because they can afford to do that. I wouldn't be surprised. Like if you went to Target's customer service and you said, "Hey, look, all these places are selling it for $60," you probably could get them to refund you the difference. So if you bought it at Target, you might and you paid $80 for it, you might contact them and say, "Hey, everyone else sold it for $60," and see if they'll give you a refund of the difference. Henry G. So that you're right. I didn't get much of a deal at McFarlane, but I figured it probably was going to ship out sooner from McFarlane than it would from Target. And, with Target, you never know. They might just cancel your order altogether. So I felt like, even though it wasn't a huge difference in price between Target and McFarlane, it was better to order it from McFarlane. Like I said, if I had had my preference, I would have gone to either Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth, or even Amazon before I would have gone to McFarlane or someplace like Target. But unfortunately, like I said, I missed the boat. Same thing with the Batman figures. I ended up getting the Batman figures. I think I ended up getting them from Target because they had sold out everywhere. And I'd already gotten the unmasked Batman, Michael Keaton Batman, even though that unmasked head sculpt looks horrible. It looks nothing like Michael Keaton. Did they change the price? Well, but I imagine a lot of people still bought it at $80. So if you bought it at 80, I would definitely see if you can get them to refund $20 for you. Jerry says just bought the Nerf Ghostbuster Plasma. Wait, Nerf? You talking about the Hasbro Ecto One Plasma Series one that they did? But that wasn't even. I mean, that sucked because that wasn't even in scale with the figures. Buff. I do the only Valaverse figure I have is the first Sergeant Slaughter figure they did. I'm not a huge, most of the lines that I actively collect are ones that are like based on my nostalgia of things I collected as a kid and stuff. GI Joe, Star Wars, Transformers, Thundercats, He Man, all that kind of stuff. So I'm not a huge like independent action figure line collector. So I don't really buy much in the way of, I don't buy Four Horsemen figures. I don't buy, much of that. I did get that. I did end up getting that second run. I pre-ordered that second run of the Four Horsemen Headless Horseman figure, but that's like my first real Four Horsemen figure that I will have gotten. Sector, I would cancel your order and go someplace like Big Bad Toy Store or Entertainment Earth. I think they have those figures in stock. Amazon maybe too, but yeah, that Sunman figure you should be able to get your hands on. Is not invested in the latest scanning technologies. I remember this was like years ago, like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, but we were talking to him at Toy Fair, and this was when they were announcing their first wave of Harry Potter figures, and he was telling us how they still had, you know, sculptors who did those likenesses, like, whereas most companies, Hasbro and such, they use the scanning technology now. So I won't say that 100%, but I feel like that's why most of the McFarlane figures look nothing like their human counterparts when they're like when we're talking movie figures, because they're not, because I don't think he's invested in the latest kind of scanning technologies and stuff. John says they should start promoting the Blue Beetle movie now. It's got me. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think the Shazam movie is going to do that well at the box office. I could be wrong, but I don't think that's going to be much of a huge hit. Kyle says his old movie Maniacs had way better likenesses. Yeah, and those, I mean, those were definitely way before all this, scanning technology stuff existed. So Prophet says he's seeing Shazam. Looking forward to it. I mean, I hope it's good. I mean, I like the first Shazam movie. I thought it was decent, but the trailers I've seen have not impressed me, and that's one I definitely feel like I can wait for it to come out on HBO Max. I thought Ant Man was okay. I mean, Kang was the best thing about the Ant Man movie, but you know that that had a good opening weekend, and then it had significant drop off. So and I think everyone hated Modoc. I think that's what everyone hated the most was the whole Modoc thing. What? We won't talk spoilers, but man, I watched the third episode of The Mandalorian yesterday. It started out great, and then it like took this turn to the left, and I was like, "What the hell?" It's like I felt like they wasted practically a whole episode. So I was not too impressed with the this week's episode of The Mandalorian. BB, wonder why superhero movies aren't as popular as they were compared to today. Uh, I think there's a variety of reasons. I think part of it is oversaturation. I think part of it is that people in general just aren't going to movie theater, ever since the pandemic. I think it's changed people's viewing habits, so you just don't have as many people going to the movie theaters in general. Um, as far as Marvel movies go, you know, I think it was a huge mistake that they got rid of their core characters, Steve Rogers, Tony Stark, you can bring in some of these B-lister characters as long as you continue to have your main guys there to kind of pull everything together. But ever since Avengers Endgame, they've essentially been running things on these kind of second string characters, in my opinion, and I don't think they pull in. I don't think it generates as much excitement. Now I could see that changing when they start to finally introduce things like the X-Men and Fantastic Four and stuff, but we're kind of in that lull where they haven't gotten to that point, and so I think that's also played a part in kind of why the MCU hasn't been as exciting for people as it once was. I mean, to me, and I realize not everyone sees things the way I do, so, but for me, there's a lot, even, leading up to Avengers Endgame, there was a lot of the MCU movies that I thought were only so so. There's only like a small handful of MCU movies that I really like, I could go back and rewatch multiple times. And but what kept me invested in the MCU was because each movie was a part of an overall story, and it was the overall story that was the most interesting aspect of it. And that, of course, that was Thanos and the whole Infinity Gauntlet thing. So, and they have not done a good job of establishing a new overall story since Avengers Endgame. Now that might start to change with the whole Kang thing, but up until now it's like it's been all over the place, and so you've lost that overlaying story that it is what I feel like, even if you didn't like Captain Marvel, you were still going to see it to see what piece of the puzzle it brought to the whole, the big picture. Whereas that's worn off now, and so people are now looking at these as individual movies. And again, I think there was a lot of individual movies even before Avengers Endgame that they were there hasn't been a Marvel movie that I've like totally hated, like, oh my god, this is like the worst thing I've ever seen. But there are plenty of Marvel movies out there that I'm like, yeah, this is okay. I can watch it once, but I'm not going to go back and rewatch it over and over again. Um, in fact, the only MCU movies that I really feel like are ones that deserve to be rewatched on a regular basis are uh, the original Iron Man movie. I think remains a classic. The first Avengers movie is still one of my favorite MCU movies. Captain America: Civil War is an awesome movie, and then Avengers: Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. So those are the ones that I find myself able to go back and rewatch many times. But most of the other movies are just kind of like, yeah, I saw it once, it was decent, but I don't really have a huge interest in going back and seeing it again. But like I say, another thing is just oversaturation. I think with all the Disney Plus shows and everything, it's just I think people have just kind of like, it's too much to follow, too much to keep track. I mean, for like a lot of us, we're like hardcore. We know all these characters. Before these movies even came out, we knew who these characters were and stuff. But just think if you were just a general moviegoer who like really never read the comics or anything, trying to keep track of all these different characters and all these different threads and stuff. I mean, it gets to be way too much. And I think again, especially with all the Disney Plus shows, editions of the Disney Plus shows, I think there's just been a too much oversaturation. Now on the DC side, the problem there is lack of direction. Every time a movie, you start to get invested in something. I like the Black Adam movie, and with the scene with Superman, I was like excited, and then they killed it. It was like, oh yeah, we're getting rid of Henry Cavill. This is going nowhere. We're not gonna. Dwayne Johnson is done. So it was like, why did I even watch this movie? What was the point of it? And like, so every time a movie on the DC front doesn't have like a super stellar performance, they scrap all their plans and then like start over again. And it's like, enough, I'm not going to keep investing in these movies if you're going to keep, essentially just starting over. So I have little faith that all this James Gunn 10-year plan stuff is going to pan out. The moment one of those James Gunn movies fail to perform at the box office, I have little, doubt that the Warner Brother execs are going to be like, oh, start to panic and be like, oh my God, this isn't working. Let's do something else. Mr. Cheeseburger. That's why I'm not. Well, I agree with you, and in part that is why I'm not going to see Shazam because I don't see much point of it. But I'm gonna go see the Flash movie probably just because I want to see Michael Keaton Batman. But I'm not going for the Flash. I'm going basically just to see Michael Keaton in the bat suit one last time. Kyle says, ironically, that's exactly how DC Comics work too. Well, I mean, yeah, I gave up on comic books a long time ago, so in large part because of price, but yeah, I've not been able to get into reading comics in a very long time. I like all three Cap movies I liked. Civil War by far was the best, but that's because I love seeing all the characters come together. I mean, that first time we saw all those guys come together and fight each other on the airport scene. I mean, that's just an awesome scene. I mean, um, so that's why I like that movie. So I definitely like the movies where you're bringing in multiple characters, but I liked all three Captain America movies in general. But of course, I'm a huge Captain America fan, so that's the character I'm going to be most interested in, and definitely was most disappointed when they essentially got rid of Chris Evans as Captain America. Though I think we will see him again, but I think it was a huge mistake to kill off Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. They should have at least waited until they had like the X-Men and Fantastic Four and stuff in place. Because I mean, when we finally see the X-Men on the screen and the Fantastic Four, who's not going to be disappointed if the Avengers team isn't going to be Tony Stark and Steve Rogers and Thor and Bruce Banner, if it's going to be, Falcon and these other guys that they're bringing in to be the new Avengers. I mean, and that's the Avenger team that's going to be there when we finally see the X-Men and the Fantastic Four all together. That's going to be a letdown. It's not that I don't like those characters. It's not that I don't like Sam Wilson or such, but to me, Captain America is always going to be Steve Rogers, and he's always going to be, one of the main Avengers, just like Tony Stark. And so when the Avengers are there with meeting the X-Men for the first time, or the Fantastic Four for the first time, I want to see my Avengers there, not these other Avengers. So, and again, that's maybe just me, but that's definitely how I see it. Sector 2813, Ironheart. I didn't dislike Ironheart, but I do think there's been way too many of these kid geniuses coming in, and just like, back when Tony Stark had the arc reactor, that was this huge deal. And now here's this kid who just like, oh yeah, I'm just going to create this in my garage, or Ant-Man's kid. I mean, just way too many of these kid geniuses that they've started throwing into these movies. 3M says 59.99 is two for that Batmobile. I'm not sure what you're asking there, 3M. VV, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure eventually they're going to work their way to a Young Avengers movie. But Jerry says Chris Evans playing Human Torch and Captain America in one movie. Yeah, I did not like Evans that much as Human Torch. I mean, he was okay, but I wasn't a huge fan of those Fox Fantastic Four movies. Like, I 100% would love to see the 20th Century Fox X-Men characters brought over to the MCU and given like real X-Men uniforms and stuff at least one time, to see them on the screen as as the X-Men, Hugh Jackman and Halle Berry and all those 20, I would love to see them brought over to the MCU at least once, wearing, actual X-Men, not generic leather outfits and stuff, but actual X-Men, costumes, and be there with the Avengers and Fantastic Four. I would love to see it. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think when they bring the X-Men in, it'll be all new actors, but personally I would love to see that. And I hope the Avengers Secret Wars movie is actually going to be based on the Beyonder. I know there's been a lot of debate on whether it's going to be based on like the Beyonder Secret Wars or the more modern Secret Wars story, but I hope it's based more on the, Beyonder Secret Wars, where like all these heroes and villains get whisked off to like a battle world or something, and they end up having to face off against each other and stuff. That's what I would love to see for like the Avengers Secret Wars movie. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, that would be funny. Salome's here, everyone, in case you couldn't see the tail or hear the purring on the mic. Well, I'm pretty sure we're going to see the scrolls in the Secret Invasion series, and probably the Marvels movie. So I definitely think we'll be seeing the scrolls again. But see, Marvel, I think, is also starting to deal with similar issues that DC had been facing, because Marvel had the luxury of all their movies were these huge box office successes, but now you're starting to see the movies aren't performing as well as they once did. So now you're probably going to start seeing Disney execs starting to panic and be like, okay, we've got to change things up because what we're doing isn't working anymore. And, who knows what that'll end up resulting in, but I don't want to see a scroll Captain America. Jerry says, Days of Future Past was the best X-Men movie. I think X-Men 2 is better than Days of Future Past, but I did like Days of Future Past. I will say that was definitely the last good X-Men movie that we saw. Tom Cruise is superior Iron Man. Julio. Apparently, from what I've read, as far as the Zack Snyder thing, apparently he's planning on doing a screening of Batman versus Superman and the Justice League movie at a movie theater. I think is what he was teasing, from what I understand. So essentially, nothing major, nothing of any real consequence. Uh, I was not a huge fan of Logan, so I mean I know I'm in the minority with that opinion, but I was not a huge fan of the Logan movie. All right, I think we're gonna wrap it up a little early tonight. Doing only an hour tonight as opposed to an hour and a half, but as always, guys, I want to appreciate you guys for stopping in, chatting with me. Should have a news video up tomorrow. There is remember there is a day two of Walmart's Collector Con, so I don't know if there'll be anything good going up tomorrow, but there is technically a day two, and then there'll be another Collector Con later in the year. Dan Young had already indicated that's probably, well, he said there's going to be more Walmart exclusives this year, but and he mentioned the Bucky Cap figure, but my guess is we'll see those at the second Walmart Collector Con later in the year. Um, and then also don't forget day three of Target Haulathon tomorrow. Um, so I'm not sure what exactly is going to be going up for that, but we'll find out. Late in the or early in the morning, I should say, is when they'll reveal the stuff going up for Haulathon. But as always, guys, thanks for dropping in, and stay safe out there. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later.
Hey, thanks for watching today's video, and be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification so alerted every time I upload a new video. And be sure to head over to the Toy News International and Marvelous News message boards communities. It's a great place to talk toys, and win cool contests like $100 store credits to Big Bad Toy Store. And remember, action figures are great!